Change is one of the most beautiful things that we experience on Earth. If there's a change happening, we do not know. Is it going to be good, better than our previous situation, or is it going to be worse? That's why a lot of us keep being stuck in our situation, because we rather choose the struggle of staying in a toxic work environment, toxic relationship, rather than facing our fear of that change. For example, COVID. A lot of us, we were scared, we didn't know what is going on, how do we deal with this? Like the government didn't know how to deal with it. But like looking back now, I feel like besides all the negative things, like things being shut down, people dying and stuff like that, I feel like there were still certain learnings. People are now able to work remotely that weren't able to work remotely before. Everything, every change has something good about it, even if you feel like it was a bad experience. And that's why I'm saying always go all in, because a lot of times when we see people living our dream life, we think, oh wow, how is that person able to do all these things that I want to do? Like I'm here and that person is there. And what they did is they were showing up for themselves. They were willing to make changes in their life in order to have a different outcome of their life. And I always see change like a rainbow. Everyone loves rainbows, right? And you can't see rainbows unless it's raining and the sun is shining at the same time. That rarely ever happens. That's why we don't see them as frequently unless we live next to a waterfall. But what I realized is that if you go through changes, when I left Germany to come to the States for a year, it's hard saying bye to your family and friends for like a whole year, not physically seeing them. So there's certain pain attached to that beauty of that new experience. It's kind of like a rainbow where it's beautiful because you come back someone new because you gained a new experience. But at the same time, that rain and that negativity maybe because you might be losing something. Like if you leave your job because you didn't like it that much, but there were some things that you liked about your job. Maybe you were really passionate about it, but you didn't like your boss, or maybe you loved your coworkers, but you didn't like the job. There are certain situations where it's hard for us to cut off because like it's not 100% telling us to do that. Maybe sometimes it's just like 50% that says like I want to stay here and 50% says I want to leave, and that will always make you choose staying in that situation rather than leaving, unless it's like so severe that you're like, okay, I need to change my situation because like I can't sleep at night, I need to go to therapy because this thing I can't get off of my mind. I just want to help you trigger that change, that you're not as scared anymore, because it's going to be worth it. It's like what you shift your focus to is what's happening. And if you keep thinking like, oh, I'm going to lose everything, letting go of everything, a lot of times like people that break up, people that make that change, that leave their work, 9 out of 10 times people have told me this was the best thing that happened to them. And a lot of times it had to happen externally. Like they needed to be getting laid off at work. They needed, I don't know, to experience a certain situation in order to make that change happen and be like, okay, I need to do this. And the thing is, you're the person in control over your life. Yes, that toxic person can also be the one like cutting you off and breaking up with you, or that toxic boss or whatever. But you need to look after you. If you were your best friend and it's like, should I do this or should I not do this? Try to be your own best friend and being like, what's in your best interest? Because every experience that we make, kind of like the rainbow that has multiple layers of color, the same thing applies to you as a person. Every experience makes you learn something about it. Sometimes it teaches you that you don't like things, and sometimes it teaches you like, oh my god, this is like my new hobby that I just started. I've been joining running clubs by myself, solo traveling. I learned so much about myself, and every time I'm scared, it's some kind of like a change. I'm in the States right now in New York for 4 weeks. I'm also going through changes because I'm transitioning. I quit my full-time job to go back to school. Like it's a lot of changes attached to that. It's a lot of fears attached to that. But I know it's the right thing because it's about something that I always wanted to learn. And now I found the confidence to actually make that step. I didn't feel the confidence before. because there were like so many things that I was like, okay, I don't think I can do it. And I still don't know if I can do it, but you will never know if you don't try. And the quote with the tree that says, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago because now you could have all the fruits from the tree. And the second best time to start is now. Because in 10 years, if you still didn't start yet, of course you can start in 10 years, but it's always delaying the things that you want in your life. So it's about showing up for yourself and just practicing that. And as soon as you get into the habit of showing up for yourself, change will come more easily. And in the beginning, everything is hard that you try for the first time. You're changing something, you're new here. But like even with the running clubs that I've been joining, there were always someone there that joined for the first time and they did it by themselves too, and they were also scared. So it's like we share so many emotions throughout our journey, and a lot of times just because like our close circle around us doesn't share the same journey or was joining us on that journey, sometimes we feel lonely because of that, because we're like, oh, this is really just me versus me. But I want to encourage you that you got this, and it's one step at a time. And I would love to hear in the comments what's something that's been on your mind, something that you wanted to change or something that you've been too scared of. Because I feel like a lot of times, like for example, like moving away or moving to a different country with like all the visa types and stuff like that, it seems impossible if you are like on the outside, sitting in your home country, surrounded by like the people that grew up here around you. But once you make that step of going, like for me, to New York, and you meet people that were able to move there and they tell you about which kind of visas they did it with, that encourages you and makes it feel like more accessible to get there. And that applies to anything. If you talk to rich people, that makes it feel more accessible for you to be rich as well, because now you know people and you know that they're not smarter than you. They were just able to show up and do certain things, and you can do the same thing. And that's what I'm saying, like we're all unique in our own ways, but there's like a lot of things that we have in common that we are a lot of the times aren't even aware of. It's about finding that sweet spot, finding where you belong, and the whole life is a journey. But I do think that the journey gets way more enjoyable if you change the way that you think about change, about trying new things, about failure, about what you find embarrassing. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people say about you, think about you. Real people are only able to find you and to appreciate you if you're in your truest form. And that means you don't need to feel embarrassed, because that person will probably appreciate you being that way. And because a lot of kids maybe made fun of you for liking something or not liking something, that can make us feel like insecure about ourselves, our body, our mind, our interests. And sometimes that can kill that passion that we are driven by. And that's why I think like embrace change. Like you will always win at the end going through the change. Even if it happens with a different process, like you can always reach your goal. I believe in you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in my next one. Bye!